Hi, I'm Zach, and SUPERET is my favorite band. This is the first album review I've ever done, the first one I've ever written, and I am sorry if you hear anything outside. The phone that I'm recording this with is up against my window, and I'm also sorry if I'm looking that way a lot, because I wrote this out first, and I'm reading it off of my laptop, so just a fair warning for that. So first I'm going to talk about who SUPERET is, like what it consists of, because they're not a very well-known band. They are from Los Angeles, and they were formed on Valentine's Day in 2016 by Matt Blitzer, Sam KS, Patrick Kelly, Isaac Tamburino, and Alex Fischel. Alex plays the keys, Isaac does a bunch of shit, Matt is the vocalist and guitarist, Sam is the drummer, and Patrick is the bassist. They have two releases of compilations of songs. One is the SUPERET EP, which was released on the 30th of October 2017, and their first full-length album, How to Work a Room, which is what I'm talking about today, was released on the 17th of May 2019, which is actually when I saw them in concert. The album is divided into 4 sections by robotic interjections, and I'm just going to be reviewing it section by section, so enjoy that. The first section of the album, How to Work a Room, contains Bone Bag, Farrington Pond, and Blue Age. Bone Bag introduces the album with a slow, walking beat and the synthesizers, which will be present for the entire album. Blitzer's vocals on this track, as well as all of the others, have genuine emotion injected into literally every single lyric. The slight strain on his voice and minor changes in pitch and volume are they're incredibly compelling, and they made me want to listen to this song all the time. It really fits, and it's easily one of my favorites on the album, although it's incredibly hard to pick favorites because I don't think this album has a single bad song on it. Farrington Pond begins with an electronic fade into all of the rest of the instruments. The guitar and the bass carry you through the track, while the subtle drum beat and haunting background vocals assist in guiding you. The main vocals are accompanied by beautiful echoing during the chorus, and the bridge feels like you're just floating in space. Easily the best part of this song is the riffing during the chorus because it's energetic, it's fun, and it just all around enhances the track. Blue Age is introduced by the soft beat of Sam's drums and the nice, gentle plucking of Patrick's bass. The vocals are, as always, admirable and gorgeous, and the keys and synths on this track are just, I feel like I'm in an 80s computer but scrolling through modern social media, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm in a vaporwave edit when I listen to it. It ends with the synthesizers fading out into the soft, pouring rain that perfectly transitions into the next section. How to Initiate Conversation is the longest section on the album. It has Comes as Relief, Some Bright Lights, A Gash on the Cheek, and YDS2M. Comes as Relief opens in a very dancey way with a very powerful bass line and drum beat. I think the bass and the synths really carry this track. When Blitzer shouts Comes as Relief right before the first chorus, we are really introduced to just how powerful his voice is. And I just think it's incredible. The bridge has him calling out, seemingly confused and desperate to his lover, and the whole song just feels like you're longing for a relationship that you know has to end. It's kind of lustful, I guess is how I would describe it. And then the cries of Comes as Relief throughout the song just seem to get more and more free, I guess is the word I would use, as if Matt is actually relieving himself of these feelings and this desire to have this relationship. Some Bright Lights is completely different from Comes as Relief, as it commences with soft piano and an orchestral accompaniment. The vocals are also quite soft and somehow manage to convey both innocence and wisdom simultaneously. When the bass and the drums make their first appearance, the robotic backing vocals do as well, which I think is beautiful. The energy of the song builds and builds and builds until it suddenly flatlines at the first rendition of the second chorus, and the beat stops fittingly during the bridge before picking back up with a slightly higher energy than what we started at before we had the dip in the song. The song ends the exact same way that it started, though, with the orchestral accompaniment and the soft piano. After we are ever so gently led into a gash on the cheek, it begins with soft anger conveyed by the keys and synths. The drums and the quick piano coax us into Matt's cry of betrayal magnificently. The keys on the song are, if I may use this word again, haunting, as are the background vocals. The chorus is desperate and upbeat despite the lyrical content conveying otherwise. The castanets and pleasant bass line are juxtaposed by Matt's cries of "I can't believe you" in the post-chorus. This is, once again, one of my favorite songs on the album, and Blitzer's vocals, similar to those in Comes as Relief, seem to become more freed and emotional as the track progresses, which is just incredibly compelling to me. YDS2M is fun and bouncy and it immediately grabs your attention with the synths that go between your headphones. The song itself is far more fun than the lyrical content, which is kind of sad. The guitar and the vocal effects are easily my favorite part of the song, although the drum beat in the chorus is pretty fucking close. YDS2M caught my attention the first time I listened to it because I found the way that they added background vocals as the track progressed to be very appealing to my sense, and I think that this still stands, and that YDS2M is, like most of the songs, one of my favorites on the album. But the acoustic version is better. The section How to Appear More Confident caught me off guard the first time I was listening to the album, and it made me laugh really hard, because I just think it's very amusing. And this section has 2 songs on it, the first one being Go to Sleep, Kimberly. The introductory bass line is just constantly in my head. I think it's just because I'm a bassist, but the drum beat is also always in the back of my mind, like I can't take math tests without thinking about this song. And this was easily one of the most memorable songs from the show I attended, and this wasn't even the one where Matt held my fucking hand, which was super dope. It reminds me a lot of my boyfriend, because I think he's really cute and I really want to dance with him. But yeah, it's just a pleasant song to jam to at all hours of the day, including 3 a.m. when your brother, who shares a wall with you, is trying to sleep. I think that the entirety of this track is just composed absolutely beautifully, including, but not limited to, the horn section and the piano in the chorus. As with most songs, because I'm a singer and a bassist, I find that the vocals and the bass line really carry this track from start to finish. And Patrick Kelly is just an incredibly talented bassist, and the fact that I didn't even know who he was until mid-May kind of upsets me, because he's really talented. After Go to Sleep, Kimberly, you're probably going to be tired from jumping up and down on your bed singing into your brush. Or maybe that's just me. But either way, I think the transition from Go to Sleep, Kimberly into Stockholm Syndrome, which is the last song in this section, is oddly beautiful, because, I don't know, I just like the soft swelling of the piano guided by the synthesizers. I think it's gorgeous. The nearly whispered vocals and dark synthesizers convey an emotion that I don't think we really have seen yet on this album, which is just genuine emptiness and sadness. Like, we see sadness in the other songs. It's just not conveyed in this sense. This is much more empty and emotionless, although there's a lot of emotion infused into this song. It's an oddly pretty song for the topic. I think it's because of the way that the drums rise and dip. It's really fitting. And then the soft plucking of guitar strings heard after the most intense moment of the song. The final section of the song is How to Make an Exit, and it contains only one song, Shapeless Place. Shapeless Place is strikingly different from Stockholm Syndrome. It's arguably even more striking than the difference between Go to Sleep Kimberly and Stockholm Syndrome, which is hard to do. But it begins with heavy synths, and Matt's vocals just feel like a really good trip. But then your trance is interrupted by Sam absolutely fucking hammering the drums when they pick up speed, and the guitars make their first appearance. The bass rings out really heavily, even though it's hidden underneath all of the other instruments and Matt's vocals. The song gains intensity, and it starts to close out with Matt reading a poem while things are being chanted behind him. I know what the words are, I just am not gonna say them right now. And then it gains intensity once, it dips a little bit, and then it gains intensity again towards the end, and it closes out chaotically with all of the instruments just kind of like when you're fucking with your stepdad during your sound check for your fake band that you have that you play in your basement, and so you're just like like that's what it closes out with before it just, you get the tiny little beeps of the synthesizer, and then it just wavers out with one little note. My definitive ranking of the album. There are no bad songs on this album. There's not a single moment that disappointed me, not a single moment that upset me, not a single moment that made me go, really? You wanted to organize it like this, or you wanted to compose it like this? The whole album, start to finish, it flows beautifully. It's just all around an excellent album. I would highly recommend it to anyone who listens to any iconic 80s synth pop or like any modern indie, but not like straight people indie, like real indie, like not Vance Joy or whatever bullshit, but like stuff that has like, you find in the darkest corners of Spotify, that type of indie. If you like that, this album is definitely for you. Overall, I just rated a 10 Matt Blitzer dances out of 10. And yeah, just seriously give it a listen. Now, if I absolutely had to choose my favorite songs on the album, which is really hard because they're all my favorite songs, I would have to say that it would be Bone Bag, Comes as Relief, A Gash on the Cheek, YDS2M, Go to Sleep Kimberly, and Stockholm Syndrome. That's 6 out of, 11 songs? So that's like more than half. Like, it's a really good album, and it's really hard for me to choose. I will also eventually review the SUPERET EP in addition to the songs that they have that didn't make it onto the album in the acoustic versions. That'll all be one video. It'll be the SUPERET EP, Half-Life, Bang My Drum, and the acoustic versions of YDS2M and Comes as Relief. So, thank you for listening to me ramble about my favorite band. This is the first album review I've ever done, so pointers would be appreciated. But yeah, I just really like them, and I spend a lot of my time listening to them and talking about them. So I figured that this would be a nice little activity that I could do since summer's almost here. So, adios, thanks for watching, and I'm not going to have an upload schedule because this is my first video.